we're going to be talking about how to save money, how I save money, and how I blow money really easily. Okay, we're going to start this off with really simple, basic stuff. I'm going to jump right into it. If you're trying to save money, first thing you need to do is go through your expenses for the month. Go through your finances. Go and figure out what your income is and then what the amount of money you spend on rent and all of your essential things are, and then look at the money you have left after that, and then look at the things that you have kind of a subjective amount of expense on, like food, drink, nightly fun, condoms, whatever, subscription services, things like that. Okay? Because although these things might be important in some capacity, you can always augment it. I wouldn't recommend cheaping out on the condoms, though, because that's going to cost you more money in the long run, and she's probably not going to be happy if you're using a candy wrapper. But the point I'm trying to make is, in general, the first thing you should do if you're trying to save money, figure out your income and figure out your output of such income. Figure out your expenses, all right? Figure out the initial expenses first, and then figure out the, what. And I'm sorry, there's stain all over my hands. It's a long story. It's from this. I made a sword. It's kind of cool. It's not done yet. I was staining it with walnut, and the result is a cool little sword. I burnt it first. She's nice and hot, but also the problem is now I just need to put the freaking finish on it. I just haven't done it yet, but she's a mess, so she's all over me. But that's okay, because we don't mind that. We don't mind some sloppy seconds. We don't mind a naughty little sinful staining. I also have another sword over there, but it's a long story. Anyways, point I'm trying to make, first thing you have to do, assess your finances, okay? Assess what you put out and what you put in. And don't think about that in any other kind of context. And then your next plan is going to be to look at all of the things that you can choose to not pay for. If you go to Starbucks, stop going to Starbucks consistently. Like, if you have a one-off, it's one thing. But every single day going to Starbucks, not a plan, my guy. If you go and you order DoorDash or Uber Eats, or you're subscribed to DoorDash or Uber Eats, or hypothetically, say you Uber a lot, or whatever the case may be, somehow you are blowing money, all right? Now, listen, I completely get it, all right? I'm an idiot when it comes to money. I'm pretty bad with money. My whole family's been bad with money ever since I could remember, and I've taken on a little bit of that, I won't lie. I blow money on a lot of things. I blow money on my silly projects, my paintings in the background, swords, my top hats. Like, I blow money, my guys. But, I at least am aware of what I blow money on, and some people just aren't. Some people literally have no idea what they're spending their money on. They're like, why don't I have any money? Why am I poor? Where did all this money go? It goes somewhere. You gotta find out where. Otherwise, somebody's stealing money from you, and honestly, we all know that's not the case. It's a rarity when that happens in the grand scheme of things. It's because you're signing up for things that are costing you more money. So it's very important that you keep track of what you're expending every month, which is why the number one thing you want to do is, one, if you can get away with it, listen, I know I look like garbage, so I'm not worried about cutting my own hair. So I cut my own hair. Saves me money. Every time I need a haircut, I do it on my own. I know it looks bad, but at the end of the day, I don't care. I already look bad anyways. And then on top of that, buy your own groceries. Typically buy cheaper stuff. I'm really bad about that. I won't lie. I love food. I love cooking. I love getting things and experimenting with cooking and baking and all my stuff. So at the end of the day, I blow an insane amount of money, in my personal opinion, on food and creative dealio bops. I also compensate by not spending money in other areas, like I don't eat out every day or whatever. So it balances out. But in general, I do blow money. Now, on top of that, if you go out at the end of the night and you get a drink, maybe you should just drink from home. I have to point this out. Juice Force IPA, so good. It is 9.5% Funzo, my dudes. And it's literally 6 cans for $10.50. You know what that means? That means a really good couple of nights. What I'm trying to make, though, is when it comes to spending money, saving money, there are a lot of things you can do. Don't buy coffees out. Make your coffee at home. Don't buy tons of food out. Make your food at home. Do meal prep. Buy frozen fruits, frozen vegetables, seasonal things. Buy lots of grains, rice, potatoes, pasta. Buy beans, cheap stuff, legumes, all that good stuff, peanut butter. Good source of fat, And guess what? Super cheap. There's always a way you can augment your nutrition in accordance with your, money requirements as well and your budgets. Outside of that, maybe don't blow money on stupid things. Now, I'm really bad about that because I also have a bunch of projects. Like one minute, one minute I'll just be making little dice with paint that's acrylic and nail polish and all kinds of stuff, and I'll just be getting frisky with it. And then the next thing I know, I buy an $80 top hat off of Amazon, and I think that's going to be a good idea, and now it's stuck on my exercise bike. And that's another thing that you can save money on. Gym memberships. How many memberships do you have, and or gym memberships have you indulged yourself in and actually gone? Personally, I don't like going to the gym. I don't do it. I like working out, but I don't like paying people my money to work out in a facility where a bunch of other people work out and I have to go to and from the facility. It's not worth the time. I just have a couple 15-pound weights. I got an exercise bike and I pound it out. Do some calisthenics in between and then I shut up and move on with my day. I save a bunch of money. The exercise bike was originally like $100. The weights probably like $50. And guess what that means? $150 for the rest of my life. And or for years and years and years, instead of like a bunch of money on a gym membership that I'm not even going to use. So personally, I don't like doing that. I don't really understand the concept of a gym membership because I think that it wastes more time and money than actually is utilized. Other thing, what are you buying? Like books, games, hobbyist equipment, things like that. I personally do buy a lot of those kinds of dealios, like hobby stuff, but I do try to avoid okay, am I wasting my time and my money by buying a game right now? Yes. Is it actually going to make me feel like I'm, doing good in life? No. Should I do it? No. Therefore, I won't. Now, sometimes it just takes sheer willpower, and sometimes we have to say no. I see $30 priced matcha powder at the store, and I'm like, damn, I really want that. It'd be really cool to make this kind of I don't know, ice cream or something with, or whatever crap. And then I tell myself, you can find it for cheaper somewhere else. You shouldn't buy it now. You also don't need to blow $30 on something like that at the moment. It doesn't matter if it says it's organic or whatever. It's all the same crap. That's the other thing. Phone bills. How much do you pay on your phone bill? Do you actually need to pay that much? Do you use the data that you use? Do you use internet? How much are you paying on internet? All these essential things that you have to pay towards. Look at all of the essential things. Are they really essential? Then look at all the non-essential things. They're not essential, but how can you nickel and dime your way out of expending yourself that much? All these additional expenses are what perpetuate you to feel like, man, where's all this money going? Man, I'm just bleeding all this money. I don't understand. And it's because it's all these little things that just add up into the big chaos stream. And listen, I spend money. I spend money on food. I spend money on drink. I spend money on things. I spend money on stuff. We all do. But, when I was really, really poor, I didn't. I told myself, we don't have any money. We're not doing it. So it also depends on your goals. Do you want to really, really, really save up because you're really screwed? Or are you just trying to save a little bit of money here and there and you're just trying to experiment with saving money? That's going to kind of determine what your level of requirement for saving and what all these other things you're going to have to do are, and all these, compounding variables that perpetuate you to have a certain way of doing something or a certain way of not doing something. Another thing, how many subscription services do you actually need and how many are you subscribed to? Personally, I boycotted Netflix in 2020 after Cuties came out, but I would also boycott them now because they're expensive and boring and kind of useless, and we all make the joke that you spend more time scrolling through Netflix than watching things on Netflix, but it's true. I happen to be subscribed to Prime. I have an annual membership because I buy so much stuff off of there, and I always am trying to save money doing this, that, and the other, and I always gotta pay shipping on stuff, so I get Prime. That comes with Prime Video. Cool. But it's still $20. You gotta look at that and think, is it worth the $20? Same thing with Adobe Premiere Pro. I use Adobe Premiere Pro to edit my videos. I also use Photoshop. I use, InDesign, all kinds of stuff to build books and things like that. The result is, it's an expense. I always look at my subscriptions and expenses. So personally, when it comes to how I save money, I write up my finance sheet, I look at what my general income is, I give an estimate, but at the end of the day, I usually just look at, what do I have saved? What do I have this month that I have to pay towards? How much am I going to try to save this month? What am I expending my money on? How do I get around it? Blah, blah, blah. That's kind of the gist. It's not that complex. I feel like a lot of the time we overcomplicate very simplistic situations when it comes to saving money. It's pretty easy if you know what you're doing and you have a little bit of wiggle room. The hardest part is getting that wiggle room. Because usually, and I've been in a lot of these positions before, you don't have enough money to save. You are literally just scraping by the skin of your teeth, and you literally have no way of saving up and you're constantly hounding for money because you're kind of screwed. No matter what you do, you're going to be screwed. And when that happens, it's really, really hard to figure out how to get out of it. It's very individualized. And you kind of, like, personally, I've just gotten really lucky and I've banked on, like, gambling my luck, basically. And I've gotten really lucky to have other people in my life that have extended some grace to me, not financially even, just given me opportunities that I've taken upon myself in order to make more money and get further in life, even if I'm not making enough money to be able to, save money. And I think I want to talk a little bit more about how to build that wiggle room at some point, but in general, once you get that wiggle room, you have more and more room to wiggle, It's like losing your virginity. First time's always the roughest, but then, as you go on, things like lighten up or whatever. It gets easier. I wouldn't know because I'm an incel, but whatever. Anyways, that's the gist. That's the video. I don't even know what I'm talking about, so I'm going to stop. And I'm also really disappointed because I previously recorded this video and was screaming, waving swords around, and wearing a top hat, and doing all this dumb stuff with project things, and throwing my room apart and whatever. Anyways, I was doing all this stuff, and then I realized, I'm not even recording. This was all for nothing other than my deluded antics. And that's not good because that feeds the ego, even though I literally fed the ego by also exposing it all online for you to see. Tell me, by the way, if you want to see what I do for project stuff, because I've been thinking of going through all of my projects. Like, I have a lot of things I've created, and I think it'd be kind of fun to just muse and throw it all up on there, and then also explain how I did it, so that you could maybe get away with doing it too and seeing what hobbies you like. But anyways, tell me if that's like an interesting idea. I don't know if I can show all of them because some of them are probably not... No, they're all YouTube friendly. Whatever. Even if they're not, I'll still show them. Oh, Patreon. That's what Patreon's for. But, tell me if you want to actually see all of these projects, because I've done a lot with my projects. I've made books on Amazon. I've made swords, dice, card games, board games. And the point I'm trying to make to this is I also know how to do these things now with a lot of it. Some of them, suboptimal execution, barely rendered. But I also have some knowledge in other regards about how you can start some of these projects and things like that with low budgeting. If you personally find that you are interested, by all means do comment and I will make a video exclusively pertaining to the topic. But for the time being, I hope you have a wonderful night, my friends. I hope you, fare well and save up some money and expend yourself in a less stressful manner than you otherwise would if you hadn't seen this video. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for watching. It has been lovely.